Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to explore about chapter 14, Source of Energy, topics 14.1 and 14.2. Let me first introduce the topics and subtopics to be covered in this video. 14.1, what is a good source of energy? 14.2, conventional source of energy. Under 14.2, we have 4 subtopics. They are as follows. 14.2.1, fossil fuels. 14.2.2, thermal power plant. 14.2.3, hydropower plant. 14.2.4, improvements in technology for using conventional source of energy. As usual, before entering into the actual content, let's understand the basic concepts behind our topic energy. Energy and introduction. All about energy. I'm sure all would have heard about energy, is it? We need energy to do work. For example, if you want to play, run, walk, you need energy. Each and every living beings need energy to do some work. But where do we get energy from? What is your source of energy? But in this video, our focus is not about our own source of energy. Rather, we will be looking what is a source of energy is used to run our machines, vehicles, lights, etc. All these things need energy to move or function. Here you can see some facts or truth about energy. That is, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Energy comes in different forms and one form can be converted to another. The total energy during the physical or chemical process remains the same. Any source of energy we use to do work is consumed and cannot be used again. These are the general facts to be noted about energy. Hope you noted, guys. For the question, where do we get energy from? Yes, you're right. It's the food what we eat. I hope this picture tells you the story behind our energy source. The fuel for living beings is nothing but the food what we eat. 14.1, what is a good source of energy? Okay. What can be considered as good source of energy? We in our daily lives use energy from various sources for doing work. We use petrol or diesel to run our cars or trains. We use electricity to light up our street lights, or we use energy in our muscles to cycle to school. That is, muscular energy for carrying physical work, electrical energy for running various appliances, chemical energy for cooking food or running a vehicle all comes from some source. We need to know how do we select the source needed for obtaining the energy in its usable form. While selecting a fuel, we should ask ourselves the following question. How much heat does it release on burning? Does it produce a lot of smoke? Is it easily available? The factors or the characteristics of a good source of energy goes like this, which would do a large amount of work per unit volume or mass, easily accessible, easy to store, economical, easy to transport. These are the characteristics or the factors not to select a good source of energy. Fossil fuels. It is a non-renewable source which cannot be renewed or replaced. Example, coal. It takes millions of years to form. It cannot be replaced quickly once it is finished. Children, now you can see the picture of how a coal was formed and how it has been extracted from the underground and it has been taken up to the coal mines and how it has been exported to thermal power stations. That's what the picture says. The other examples are petroleum and natural gas also takes a millions of years ago from the remains of the plants and animals, where natural gas is the cleanest burning fossil fuel. These are found in deep underground rock formations. Today, we just drill down to these rock layers and extract it for our usage. The picture shows the same for you. In ancient times, wood was the most common source of heat energy. It is the main substance in trees. Today, we use them for various purposes. Hope this picture explains the rest of the story for you. The exploitation of coal as a source of energy made the Industrial Revolution possible. Increasing industrialization has led to a better quality of life all over the world. It has also caused the global demand for energy to grow at tremendous rate. The growing demand for energy was largely met by the fossil fuels, that is coal and petroleum. Our technologies were also developed for using these energy sources, but these fossil fuels are formed over millions of years ago and there are only limited resources. Given the rate at which the fossil fuels are being used today, the day is not far off that these sources will get finished, since they are non-renewable, and they are also called as exhaustible source of energy since they will get exhausted one day. So we are in a position to conserve them. Alternative sources came into existence. Here you can see a pie chart of energy consumption in India, which says we continue to be largely dependent on fossil fuels for most of our energy requirements. Burning fossil fuels has other disadvantages too, like air pollution, the actual global warming, acid rains are all because of burning of fossil fuels. Though various techniques are used to reduce the escape of harmful gases into the surrounding, but still, children, fossil fuels are the major fuels that is used for generating electricity. The various ways in which this can be done depends upon the availability of the resources. Now we will see how various sources of energy can be harnessed to run the turbines and generate electricity in the following video. Not so long ago, alchemists dream of turning cheap and ugly metals into the valuable ones like gold. Power stations pull off a similar trick, converting lumps of coals and drops of oils into a zaps of electric current. Here we will see the working of a thermal power plant. Our power plant is a bit like energy production line. Fuel is the input and electricity as the output. That's what we are going to see. Children, now let's see the working of a thermal power plant. First one is fuel. Power plants usually runs on coal, which is taken from coal mines. Therefore, many power plants are set up near coal or oil fields. Second one is furnace. The fuel is burnt in a giant furnace to release heat energy. Third one is boiler. The heat produced boils the water and turns it into steam. Fourth one is turbine. The steam flows at high pressure around a wheel that's a bit like a windmill made of tightly packed metal blades. The blade starts turning as the steam flows, which converts the steam energy to kinetic energy. Fifth one is cooling tower. These are giant jug-shaped cooling towers makes the turbine more efficient. Boiling hot water from steam turbine is cooled in a heat exchanger called a condenser. Then it's sprayed into the giant cooling towers and pumped back for reuse. Sixth one is generator. The turbine is linked by an axle to a generator. So the generator spins around with the turbine blades. As it spins, the generator uses the kinetic energy from the turbine to make electricity. Seventh one is electricity cables. The electricity travels out of the generator to a transformer nearby. Eighth one is step-up transformer. Electricity loses some of its energy as it travels down via cables. So the electricity generated in the plant is stepped up or boosted to a very high voltage as it leaves the power plant. Ninth one is pylons. The huge metal towers carry electricity at extremely high voltages along overhead cables to wherever it is needed. Tenth one is step-down transformer. Once the electricity reaches its destination, another transformer converts the electricity back to a lower voltage, safe for homes to use. 11th one is homes. From electricity poles nearby, the electricity is passed into homes in our domestic electric main circuit. The last one is appliances. Electricity flows all around our home to the outlets on the wall. When you plug in a television or the other appliance, it could be making a very indifferent connection to a piece of a coal hundreds of miles away. So that's how electricity is generated by a power station, that is thermal power station. When watching a river roll by, it's hard to imagine the force it's carrying. If you have ever been whitewater rafting, then you have felt some part of the river's power. Whitewater rapids are created as a river carrying a large amount of water downhill bottlenecks through a narrow passageway. As the river is forced through this opening, it flows quickens. Now let's see the working of hydropower plant. Hydropower plants harness water's energy and use simple mechanics to convert that energy into electricity. It is actually based on a simple concept. Water flowing through a dam turns a turbine which powers a generator. Now observe the picture closely. You could find a word named dam. Most hydropower plants rely on dam that holds back water, creating a large reservoir. The next word is intake. Gates on the dam open and the gravity pulls the water through the penstock, a pipeline that leads to the turbine. Next is turbine. The water strikes and turns the large blades of turbine which is attached to a generator above it by way of a shaft. Generators. As the turbine blades turn, it produces electricity. That is, so do a series of magnets inside the generator. A gained magnet rotates past copper coils producing AC, that is alternating current by moving electrons. Hope you remember what you learnt in chapter 13, topic 13.6. If not, I will put the link in the description box. Watch it later, children. Next, transformer. Transformer inside the powerhouse takes the AC and converts it to a higher voltage current. Power lines. Through power lines, electricity is transmitted across a locality. So that's the working of hydropower plant. Hope you understood. Biomass and intro. Biomass refers to the organic material that is used for the production of energy. This energy production process is referred to as biomass energy. Biomass is primarily found in the form of living or recently living plants and biological waste from industrial and home use. Here you can see the different types of biomass and different sources of biomass. Biogas plant working. Biogas is a renewable energy source. In India, it is also known as gobar gas. Now let us see the working steps in detail. A slurry of cow dung and water is made in the mixing tank from which it is fed into the digester. The digester is a sealed chamber in which no oxygen is present, that is anaerobic condition. Anaerobic microorganisms just break down the complex compounds of the slurry. It takes a few days for the decomposition process to complete. Later, after a few days, it generates gases like methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide and water. The biogas is stored in the gas tank from which they are drawn through the pipes for the use. The slurry left behind is removed periodically and used as excellent manure rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. Here you can see how bioenergy is converted into useful energy. So that's how the biomass and biogas plant works. Children, here you can see how biogas energy is converted into useful energy. Yes, in order to produce electricity, these are all the steps required. So that's how biomass and biogas plant works. Next, wind turbines look like airplane propellers running on the spot, spinning round but going nowhere. They are serving a very useful purpose. However, there is energy locked in a wind and their giant rotors can capture some of it and turn it instantly into electricity. Have you ever stopped to wonder how wind turbines work? Let us take a closer look. Wind energy farms or wind park is a group of wind turbines in the same location used to produce electricity. Here let's see the working of a windmill. A windmill have these many parts in it, and how the windmill generates electricity and how it is being taken to our homes is shown clearly over here. Let's see the working step by step. Wind, moving air that contains kinetic energy, blows towards the turbine's rotor blades. The rotor spin around, capturing the wind and turning the central drive shaft that supports them. Although the outer edges of the rotor blades move very fast, the central axle turns quite slowly. The rotor blades can swivel on the hub at the front, so they meet the wind at the best angle or pitch for harvesting energy. This is called the pitch control mechanism. However, many turbines have fixed rotors and no pitch control at all. The gearbox converts the low speed rotation of the drive shaft into high speed rotation fast enough to drive the generator's efficiency. The generator takes the kinetic energy from the spinning drive shaft and turns it into electricity. Anemometers, automatic speed measuring devices, and wind vanes on the back provides measurements of the wind speed and direction. Next is brakes. Brakes are applied to stop the rotors turning for safety reasons. These are also applied during routine maintenance. Next one is the electric current produced by the generator flows through a cable running down through the inside of the turbine tower. A step-up transformer converts the electricity about 50 times the higher voltage, so it can be transmitted efficiently to the power grid. Homes enjoy clean, green energy the turbine has produced and no greenhouse gas emissions or pollutions as it operates. So that's how a windmill works. Hope you understood the concept of windmill. Next, you can see some key notes followed by the follow-up. Watch it and do it yourself.